Good evening. Could I ask you to please stand for a pledge of allegiance? With all the stuff that divides us and gets under our skins, there's one thing we can all agree on, I hope, right there. There was an executive session earlier this evening to discuss potential property matters as well as some legal advice from our counsel. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Any comments, edits, changes? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have an agenda. No, we're fine. Thank you. Our intent is to take care of all the items as action items this evening, not to carry them in consent items. We don't have any workshop sessions planned for Wednesday, so our intent is to try to resolve and answer all the questions on the agenda and actually vote on them this evening. So we'll try to move things along as quickly as we can. With that, let's get into some brief reports. Kyle, anything to share?
Just thank you to our public safety and public works teams for helping out with the Cinco de Mayo event over the weekend.
Thank you. Mr. Crotty?
Nope, nothing for my report.
Chief Holdsworth?
So I did submit an electronic report to you, just touch base on a couple issues there. In April, officers responded to or proactively addressed 1,167 throughout the month, issued 218 written warnings, issued 129 traffic citations. There were 6 non-traffic arrests, 1 DUI arrest, and 13 criminal. The only other piece I'd like to add is just a discussion on a couple of grants, some activity that's kind of moving along. We had originally filed for, sorry, I'm not speaking in here. We had originally filed for a community funding project, which was for fiscal year 2025 through Representative Houlihan's office. Unfortunately, as the federal government budget ended in November, the project was not ultimately funded. So all the 15 projects that were selected by Rep. Houlihan's office were just pretty much in stalemate. They reached out to me just recently, said that they got acknowledgement from the Speaker of the House that they are indicating that community project funding will be a part of the fiscal year 2026 budget. And with that in mind, Rep. Houlihan felt it only fair to bring forward the previously selected 15 projects for reconsideration by the Appropriations Committee. So we have since then obtained updated pricing quotes from our less than lethal equipment providers, or TASER and our bowler wraps that are currently used by the department, as well as an updated support letter from President Norris to resubmit the grant. So we're actively waiting to see how that plays out throughout the end of the year. And then last but not least, we did submit for the local share program again in the fall. We received what I consider a positive communication from one of the economic development analysts, reached out stating that please advise that the earliest we anticipate any award announcements for the project is in the September 25 CFA board meeting. The project may not be started or commenced prior to any announcements from the CFA. This is the same mechanism and communication that we received last year as we received approval for our previous year's submission. So I find that to be positive that we may be on track for another grant submission approval. So, and that's all I have for you, unless you have any questions for me, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments for the Chief? Congratulations, first off, on the grand opening, your open house of the completed police station. And thanks for that very kind article as well, Jen. A prom invitation spoof.
We do everything we can when we're asked by the community. That one was really incredible. We haven't done something like this in several years now. Young man that had been stopped by one of our officers for just a minor traffic violation when he was on his first date with a young lady, and was stopped going the wrong way on one of our many one-way streets, and sent him on away with a warning. And he reached back out to us wanting to know if that same officer that had stopped him would be able to help him out with his promposal with the same young lady. And we did a little mock arrest for them, and she was brought back to the car where he then had to sign asking her if she would go to prom with him. So it was a great community oriented event.
Isn't it neat to live in a town where our police can be that close to our residents and help a guy get a prom date out?
Yeah,
Nice.
wonderful.
Thank you very much, Chief, and to your officers. Is there anyone from the fire or EMS department tonight? We did get a report from Chief McCarthy. No one here. Finance Committee, Joel?
Yes, the Finance Committee met on April 10th. And during the meeting, we approved the March minutes and bills that were paid. We reviewed the status of the budget reserve allocation for each of the funds and reviewed the year-to-date status of the 2025 budget, which is A-OK so far.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Carver or Kakamo, Development?
Harb met, and those will be coming in front of us later this evening.
Julie, Community Development?
No update from April.
And Mr. Mayor, Public Safety?
Just two things. One is you'll see the special event application that's coming up, item 13, which Public Safety recommends be approved. And tonight you'll be hearing about a consolidation of different parking ordinances that we've talked about. All of them have come before council before tonight. This is getting them all consolidated in one list. Over the last probably 6 months, we've talked about some no parking zones or inconsistencies with where the ordinance has listed a restricted parking, but the signs maybe don't match. So tonight you're going to see a list, actually just a request. It's a simple request tonight to advertise, not to debate the contents of it, but it is the consolidation of requests, and the chief went through all the parking ordinances, street by street, line by line. So you'll see that shortly. And that was it.
Thank you. Ellie, anything on Canada Fire and EMS Commission or Community Relations?
I attended the Fire and EMS meeting on the 8th, just as a member of the public. The normal discussion, they're working on getting the draft job description together for their administrator, and there was some concern, interesting discussion about the hospital closure, which has really disrupted EMS services in Delaware County. Human Relations met on the 16th, and there's 2 new members that will be voting on tonight.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, anything from your office?
Just 2 quick things. One is we got to work with 2 different Cub Scout packs this month, both working on their citizenship merit badges. One Cub Scout group came in and got a nice tour of the police department and had their picture taken up here in council chambers. And we kind of went through the ordinance process with them, which was really fun. The other group didn't come here. I went to them, and we really went through the life cycle of how Borough Council works and how local government works. And it was really fun, certainly a really nice group of folks. A quick forward fly update on where we are with that. Nothing significant has changed from my last report. The Department of Ag is focusing all their efforts on implementing their requirements for the forward fly containment on site. The nice thing about it is, if you may have seen the $500,000 grant that they made available for on-site improvements, and there have been 11 grant applications so far. You can track that on their website. So the nice thing about it is it's being managed by the Chester County Conservation District, so it's happening right here. So if we can get them, if folks can continue to upgrade their equipment so we can do our best to contain, that's a big part of the program. I am meeting later this month with Representative Sappy, who is on the Agricultural Committee in the House. We'd still like to see some more efforts there. We're going to fine tune those and deliver them to the Department of Ag.
Thank you, Matt. And I just wanted, from my standpoint, just to say a huge thank you to Sonny and the work that he's done along with Rob and Lexi and their departments to really spruce up this building and some of the work they've done to kind of get it with signage and lights. You'll probably notice as you come and go in the dark. It's just a more professional finished feel. And I know there's still work to do, but really nice job, guys. Thank you very much. And Kyle for leading that effort. Let's get into the discussion items. The first item is the HARB applications. The first one is 401 Birch Street. Brief overview, Andy?
Yes, thank you. This is Creamery for those folks who are more familiar with that name. They are doing a number of improvements to the property. The thing that came before the HARB was a new elevator tower to the south side of the main building that faces Birch Street. They actually did a good job. We talked to them early in the year as a pre-application meeting so they could get a sense of what we would be looking for. Met with us in March. We made a number of suggestions, which they took to heart. And the last revision that you see there is what they came to us in April. And we approved the changes and the addition of that elevator tower to the main building. You'll notice too that there are a lot of things with landscaping and other things, but that does not fall under our purview.
Thank you, Andy. Joanne, anything you wanted to add? Council discussion?
They, I was impressed with how the back and forth went, and the committee members had really good suggestions on making some changes that sort of worked in line with the historic theme.
That's a good-
Team came back with some good responses.
No, it was a good, I'd like every one of them to work like that, to be honest. It was good.
Any other comment? Any comment? John? Andy, you mind handing John the microphone, please?
Have we ever turned down him for anything on this Birch Street? Have we ever made him do anything that he didn't want to do? Nothing. The damn guy's gonna run the damn town if we don't watch out.
Just watch the language if you would. Any other comment? Please?
Sandy D'Antonio, 220 North Broad Street. I just have a question. I was at that first meeting with Andy. So that is not my question, but because the creek's there and the creamery is utilized by families, will they be required to put a fence up to make it safe?
That's not a HARB issue. It's more of a zoning issue. I'm not sure. Lexi, do you have a quick answer, or Kyle?
No, you're only required for fencing if there's a pool or a body of water that they install.
Thank you.
Yeah, something happened.
I would note that the creek is next to Braylock, not Freeman.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
No.
Troy,
Troy Thompson, 612 D Street.
do you mind just going to the mic? Just some folks online.
Hear me good?
Yep.
Andy, just quick question. Looking at the designs of this, the bump out, is that taking any parking spaces? I know it's not part of a historical review, but it looks like it's coming into the parking lot. Okay.
Old sponsors, I take building and the building, which I don't have to say a parking in. Luke could answer that question, but I don't know. It's not.
And what is the duration for that to have construction on it, your estimate?
That's more of this is more of a HARB discussion than a zoning hearing discussion. So let's leave it just to the HARB if we can. It's a fair question, but not related to this discussion right now. Is there anything specific to the HARB approval? Okay. Troy?
Yeah, I'm just struggling with why we delineate between what might be an imposition or a drawdown on the facade of the building for the construction. Isn't that part of what we're talking about with this?
No, this is, correct me, Andy, this is strictly a HARB application for the appropriateness of the structure that's going to be built, whether it takes it a day or a
So it's
year.
just the aesthetics.
The structure is
Yeah.
in addition to the existing building, not requiring demolition.
Right.
Maybe some minor wall stuff and nothing.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Fair enough. Yep. Thanks. Is there a motion to offer or take the recommendation from the HARB for a certificate of appropriateness for this application? Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. The next item is consider the Mushroom Cap Half Marathon event. Mr. Mayor?
Public Safety reviewed along with the staff and recommends council approve it as submitted tonight.
Is there anyone from the Mushroom Craft that would like to say a word? Council comment, discussion?
This is pretty much the same race that we and setup of the last few years. So there's nothing different than what's been happening. That's why it's being approved by the.
Chief, it runs well organized.
Yeah. Both the ladies that are the lead organizers, Kara and Sarah, have really put a lot of time and effort into, especially the safety planning going along with it. So everything else course-wise, and the impacts are all the same as previous years. This is year number 10, so it's a little bit more special for them. But no, they've been doing a fabulous job working with the borough to mitigate our safety risks.
Perfect, thank you. Any comment? Is there a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor? Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Next item is consider the appointment of Josh Tomkowitz and Jane Welbrock to the Human Relations Commission. Ellie, do you want to cover that?
Is there anyone? So we have two great applicants. For those in the audience that don't know, the Human Relations Commission is tasked with dealing with any complaints from residents of. Kyle, help me out. What kinds of complaints?
It's typically workplace related complaints of discrimination. So it's our local version of the state's Human Relations Commission.
Both applicants are kind of at a stage in their life where they're ready to get more involved in things, and we're excited to be on board.
I had the opportunity to speak to both of them earlier today. Josh, good guy, young family, lives literally across from this building, and is really just excited to start to get involved in the borough and sort of offer his expertise. He's a 10+ year HR professional, so perfect for this kind of a role. And Jane, who many folks know, has just been around as a realtor for many, many years, is active in the community. She was planning on being here, but just let me know right before the meeting that she was not feeling well, so she sends her apologies. With that, is there any discussion? If not, is there a motion to appoint Josh Tomkowitz and Jane Welbrock to the Human Relations Commission?
So moved?
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Consider the 2 shade tree removals on South Union Street. Kyle?
Sure, I'll introduce it. So I understand that we have the applicant here tonight. We also have some members of our shade tree committee here. So as background, for everyone in the audience, we have a shade tree committee that is an ordinance established borough committee that oversees decisions on our shade trees. This tree fits into that category. Residents, members of the public can come and request that trees be taken down. It's usually for a variety of reasons. They can be dead, they can, have been knocked over, or in some cases they are causing some kind of conflict with a sidewalk or something else. This fits into that third category. So the applicant came to us some time ago. Staff reviewed it. They pass it on to our shade tree committee, which is our normal process. The shade tree committee checked out the trees, determined they were healthy, and so recommended that the trees stay. The applicant came to our last public meeting and sat through the meeting very patiently, but we weren't ready to vote on it because we hadn't sort of prepped it for all of you. So the decision tonight is whether to grant an exception to the shade tree's recommendation to keep the tree. Basically to represent both sides, because candidly, our staff has a couple different perspectives on it. One perspective is that it's a large tree with significant roots that are pushing up The sidewalks there, it's making an uneven surface, and we've identified an objective to have flat sidewalks because they're more accessible. And the roots on this tree make that very difficult practically to do that. The other side is that it's a healthy tree, and it is similar in nature to the other trees along that road, along the north side. So there is a risk of setting a precedent that if you allow for this one to be taken down, that you then allow for others that are healthy to be taken down in the name of, keeping even sidewalks. So that's the sort of background on it. My recommendation as the manager is to ask that the applicant rework their sidewalks to make it even and to keep the tree. But again, there's good perspectives within our own team that feel like that's not totally practical or reasonable to the applicant.
Thanks, Kyle.
Sure.
So my name's Nia D'Amico. I'm here representing Mr. Battaglia, who is the property owner, and he's here to answer any questions. Mr. Coleman is correct. That is exactly why we're here. We do maintain that there is a significant safety concern because of these trees. I do believe Mr. Battaglia's photos are here from the other hearing. I also have 9 copies if you. So as you can see, if you can see the picture with the flag up, the colored flag, you can see that there is significant root growing up and out of the area where they were initially underground, and they are pushing the cement up to where it is a significant danger. We do not believe, and my client has walked through this property with Mr. Moran, who I believe is here today. We do not believe that there is any less restriction other than to remove the trees, replace the cement, and then seek new trees from the shade tree committee list, which would comply with the removal of these locust trees, but they're simply too big. Pushing or attempting to do anything to minimize, as Mr. Coleman indicated, would then get us out of the ADA requirement of 5 feet of sidewalk, so we can't do that. I believe there was an ask to basically grind down the 4 inches of pad, but we believe that that's actually going to crumble, so that's not going to work. And we don't believe there's any other way to handle this, and it is a safety concern. People could trip potentially. The other issue is you get complaints with people, the limbs of the trees falling on people's vehicles. How often would you say that's happened?
During a storm, you find branches coming top the cars, especially in the summertime. I don't know why. I have more than the winter time, but happens.
What also we have prepared and we can demonstrate is we have sought the service of a professional company, Jake's Tree Service, to remove the 2 locust trees that we are referencing. And then we also have a quote from Petros Custom Concrete to replace the cement pads. And certainly we put whatever tree makes a little more sense that it won't grow so significantly and cause this problem sometime in the future. All of these costs would be borne by the property owner. He's not asking for anything other than approval to remove the damaged trees and replace them. And we do maintain that they are damaged to the trees. I do not believe that these are.
It's not safe. It's not safe for the people of this borough.
And the other issue is we cannot tilt it to kind of grow the trees because then all the water is going to run towards the building. So I don't see any other least restrictive measures to accomplish this. The one thing I did pose to Borough Council in my March 5th, 2025 letter, I'm not sure if where that was, but if the borough, if council isn't inclined to do this, we would ask that any damage caused by these trees to third parties would be covered by the borough's insurance policy because our client is willing to do the right thing, but his hands are tied. And I think Mr. Moran did go out and see the property, and we weren't able to find any other measures to address this, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Just for some historical reference, especially for the newer council members, we addressed this in my first year of council, actually in the first couple of months of council, so that's 3.5 years ago. We met, it was Rachel, who's the representative on the Shade Tree, Rob from Public Works. I don't think Kyle was there, and then the Shade Tree Commission members who were here tonight as well. Thank you. And it's a rock and a hard place, right? Our priority that we decided was when you consider shade trees and public safety, we said at that time, and that was a prior council, so there's new members and we should validate that or not. Our priorities for that last council were public safety and sidewalk safety has to come first. And secondly, the shade trees. And it wasn't an either or. It was we've got to make sure the sidewalks are safe and let's have some shade trees that are better if you can, because I know there were some varieties that could be better in growing down instead of out. But you're probably still going to have sidewalks that break and crumble and need to be replaced and trees that need to be pulled out. But at that time we said, take the trees out, fix the sidewalks and replace the sidewalks and replace the trees. It seems like a cycle and it may be, but that's what we thought. I would stick with that. I think it's a lovely tree. It could be fine, but the safety has to come first. That's where I'd go. Other council thoughts, discussion?
This is a critical area in town because it's a lot of traffic for people walking between State Street and Cypress. There's a lot of businesses on that side of the street. So the caution for the safety of anyone walking is always a priority. Trees are lovely and we love them in town. Carol, I see you sitting back. But they can be replaced. I know they take time to grow. But Rob, when you were looking at the property, did you, because the pictures are just showing a little bit of poppage, but can you give us more of your perspective on that?
Yeah, when I look at the trees, when I go out there and look at the sidewalk, what I usually do is if there's any way that we can keep both, I'll do that. I've actually even up on Standing Hills made a guy go completely around the tree to do the sidewalk. The problem is in this case is that the only way to put the sidewalk in where it wouldn't interfere with the tree would be to hump it, which would mean that, and you're supposed to keep a 2% slope, cross slope on it. It would actually work up on his facade of his building. His building is made of Dryvit, that is not plaster. That's basically paint, latex paint with granulars in it. And then there's foam behind it. So now he's going to have to do something with his facade of his building because you can't have foam underneath is to soak up like a sponge. And it could cause issues with mold on the inside just by holding the moisture in. So that was the reason that was the reason I said that the tree, or thought that the tree needs to go.
And we do have a list of trees that could be replaced there. So it's not like we're losing trees, we're just replacing.
That's correct. I did tell Mr. Battaglia that if trees were removed, trees needed to go back.
And we're prepared to do that I understand it's called the Shade Tree Committee List, is my research is right. So we're happy to comply with two trees on that list.
No, not just yet, sir. Or unless he's part of your group? No, okay.
Bob, in what you were saying, were you talking about this specific property and these specific trees 3.5 years ago?
No. We were talking, I think it was, Carol, correct me, it was the church. Was it St. Patrick's?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I just wanted to be clear that.
No, different case.
Yeah, but it
was more the
it was a
principle.
similar idea.
it was the principle that we had talked
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
okay.
Kathleen, I'm sorry, were you done? Okay. Any other comments from council?
Just a quick question on what's the requirement on the size of the replacement trees? I know there's a specific recommended list, but what's the requirement on size? 2-inch caliber trunk is the requirement for the replacement size.
Any other council comment, discussion at this point? Shade Tree, please. I'd love to hear your comments now.
Hello, my name's Mark Volpe. I represent the Shade Tree Commission of Borough. They have made a couple of points that are correct. I went out there today to look at the trees myself to see how they've flushed out this spring to gauge the health of the trees and the condition of the sidewalk. It's definitely true that grinding down the sidewalk is not feasible in this area. It's only feasible if there's about an inch of rise, and this is about 2 inches here. Yep, okay. The concern from the council seems to be the safety of pedestrians. There's a number of studies from the U.S. Department of Agriculture and other public and health safety surveys that have been done throughout the country and in other countries that show that large shade trees have traffic calming effects, which leads to slower speeds, which leads to less casualties. There's a direct correlation between casualties of deaths in areas that have mature shade trees. What happens is the trees that arch over the road are creating a tunneling effect, which will cause large vehicles to slow down as they're driving. The tree is also a physical barrier for people that are on the sidewalk from cars that are speeding. If somebody gets jackknifed and goes off, it's a protective space for people. So the sidewalk being lifted up is a concern, most definitely, but I think that there's ways to mitigate that without cutting down the tree. And I think the Shade Tree Committee is in agreement that we would work with the property owner here to assess the condition of the tree after the sidewalk is removed, to look and see if the roots are affecting the sidewalk and whether or not they can be trimmed back by an arborist and the tree could be maintained in stable health, not creating a risk for toppling over due to the cutting of the roots. There's other options here. This is not pavement here. If there's soil underneath this, it would be advisable to put a root barrier here on this side as to not cause upheaval of the sidewalk here and would allow the roots to travel in the direction here. So that would give some extra space for that. That being said, large shade trees in just about every city of this country. They provide economic value, decreased cost in heating and cooling. Shoppers, there's tons of studies that I can point to. I have saved here on my phone that prove that people are willing to spend more in areas where there's shade trees. It provides a place for people to walk with shade. It brings economic value to communities. So I think we can look at this situation. Regardless, the sidewalk is going to be need to be removed and replaced. Once we see what's underneath it, we can assess further and then make a decision for the removal of the trees then.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Please go ahead.
You're asking to have both of the trees? There's 2 trees there that you're asking to have removed? Correct. Okay, yes. Thank you.
Hi, it's Lou Florence on the Shade Tree Commission and Borough President. Just 2 quick points to add to Mark's. I think that the idea of replacing a tree is laudable, but to anticipate the value of that tree is well in the future. We're looking at 10, 20 years before we achieve the benefit that we have now currently with both of those trees. So that is a big loss. It's regainable, but it's at a cost. Secondly, to replace a large tree with a smaller tree, there are other issues that we have to think about. The trucks that go down Union Street will inevitably probably get hit by the tall profiles of those trees, whereas these trees currently are well above a clearance area for those trucks that are coming down the street. So a small tree would be logical in a lot of ways, but it's also not going to afford that kind of canopy effect. And it's also going to probably be a little bit more in line with getting hit by automobiles. And then there's the time factor of like waiting for this tree to recover, a new tree to recover to the size and the value that we have now. So I think there's some significant losses with just trying to switch a different tree that we have now. So thanks.
Thank you. John had a comment. Do you mind passing the microphone, please?
John Thomas, 460 Broad. I feel for these people because I went through it myself. But you have to remember, these trees were put in by the borough. I had to replace my sidewalk because the roots sunk my brick sidewalk. It was done by the borough's tree. I wasn't allowed to touch it, wasn't allowed to do anything with it. Now, if you're going to tell them to take it down, then you got to help everybody in the borough take it down, or you got to do something. I mean, you guys just think we're made of money. You know, it's your tree. If it falls, it's your tree. Other than that, no matter what else it does, it's the borough's. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's putting the onus on the property owner only when it's negative, and not when it's any positive. So I feel for these people.
Thank you. I'll go a step further and frankly agree with you. The current shade tree rules that we have, which are state governed, by the way. So there's my excuse, but a horrible excuse. But the reality for our shade trees is it's owned by the property owner. Correct me, Rob or Rachel or anyone else. It's owned by the property owner. The responsibility to trim those trees lies with the borough, which the borough doesn't do because it doesn't have the manpower, the staff, the revenue to do that regularly. And when it comes down, the shade tree certifies that it's dead and needs to be replaced. The owner of the property has to replace the tree and put up a bond of $300, I believe, for $350 for a year to make sure that tree lives. It's a wacky rule, but it's the rule that we have right now. Are there any other comments? Do you mind coming up to the microphone?
I wanted to say a couple things about this. One,
Do you mind coming to the mic? There's some folks online. Thanks.
One, I do appreciate the value of trees in the borough. Two, if you ask the merchants, they appreciate them, but and again, understanding that the borough is thinly stretched and can't maintain them the way that they need to be. It's my understanding that like in cityscapes, they kind of have a life cycle and you got to get rid of the big ones and put new ones in some kind of way that's, you know, organized. And that doesn't happen here. We do have a precedent on South Broad Street where a tree was taken down and not replaced. There's a couple of them right in front of the law offices and I think Fenstermachers where trees were never put up. I don't know what the deal was there, but when a tree was knocked down in front of my building, I had to go through the process and put the root box and all that in. I wasn't fond of it, but we did in the interim move. The borough came in and cut out some of the sidewalk and moved some of the, removed some of the sidewalk and put brick in, and it relieved some of the root stress and some of that bump up went down. But I'm familiar with this spot. I was just over there. It's narrow and it's hazardous. So as much as it looks nice to have trees that are big and, you know, reaching over, if you do a walk through the borough, especially downtown, it's very inconsistently maintained. And so I think whatever standard is set, we need to stick to that. And we also should not add any more trees in the borough to be maintained until we can maintain the ones that we have.
Thank you. Any other comment? Kathleen?
Do we know how old the trees are that we're proposing to remove? 1960. Oh, so they're young trees.
Yeah.
For trees, there's.
Any other comment?
No, my biggest frustration is the 2-inch diameter replacement. I feel like it's such a small tree in the years it's going to take to grow. I certainly understand and empathize with the property owner and in the situation. But it's a big change to go from a tree that provides canopy to a 2-inch diameter twig. And the same thing.
Carol, do you mind coming up to the microphone, please?
No, I'm not going to give you a lecture. I honestly promise. However, it's been proven that if you put in a 2-inch caliper tree, it will do so much better than a 4-inch caliper tree, which will just sit there because the roots have been cut when they take it from the nursery. So these will catch on much faster. We have other major problems within the borough. We're right now we're performing a street tree inventory to know what we have, where they're located, possibly where things should be and where they can't be. So there are things coming down. You will be hearing from us about this. But yes, for many years, we have not had a budget. And every time we try to put something together to say we need a budget, then we're saying, well, there are other things that we have that we need, filling potholes and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Carol.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. And thanks to the Shade Tree Commission for the mostly thankless, but much appreciated work. It makes it a prettier town to drive through the streets and have trees on them. It makes it a prettier town. I'm going to make a motion. Well, there is a new council. Yeah, agreed. I'm going to make a motion that we allow the property owner to take the trees down to repair the sidewalk. If you'd like to work and meet with the Shade Tree Commission to say, hey, can we cut the roots, save the tree? That's your ability to do so, but the liability stays with you, not or transferred to the borough. And then replace it as per the current guidelines for the Shade Tree Commission. I'm also going to add to that, to the council to please consider also including requiring the replacement of numerous shade trees on State Street, on Broad Street, on different parts of town, over the next 6 or 12 months as well, because there's a lot of spots that those plots for trees are now empty. They've been taken down and just never replaced. And it's not as pretty as it could be because of that. So that's my motion. Is there a second? And then we'll get into discussion.
Motion because
Okay.
it sounds like you're asking
Mr.
the
Battaglia
town
to
to
do it.
replace trees on State Street.
Yes, only on your property. Forgive me. Yes, yeah. I mean, that was very nice if you'd like to do that. No, let me restate it if I confused anyone. All I'm suggesting, my motion is that you take those trees down unless you want to talk to the Shade Tree Commission to see if there's a way to save those 2 trees. But you take them down, replace the sidewalk as needed, and replace the trees as well per the Shade Tree guidelines. I'm also adding on to that I'd ask the second part of that motion, that in addition to that we look at making sure that we're enforcing our shade trees that are missing throughout the town as well. So that's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I don't want the town to be in the tree business. There's a motion, a second. Any other discussion from council?
I think that I would be more interested in this as 2 separate motions.
I'd be happy to split that motion. My motion, let me retract my motion and offer a motion. I'm sorry, I was trying to make this quicker. My motion is that they replace the trees and work with the Shade Tree Commission if they're akin to and would like to.
Second that motion.
Any discussion from council? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed?
Thank you. Any abstentions? I'd like to make a second motion related to that, which is to ask our staff, Kyle, to enforce the missing shade trees throughout town where they should be to have those replaced as well. It's a motion. Is there a second? Discussion.
I'm assuming that this is, to investigate that these do exist. Not that I don't believe you, but,
Absolutely, as
confirm that
appropriate.
This is the case. Yes, as appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's very akin to the sidewalk issue, right? We said, hey, it's unfortunately, this council is catching up with some things that were not done over the years. Sidewalks is a great example of that, right? And now we're trying to catch up and it hurts, it costs. That's a motion. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Consider the advertising. This is not to approve it, but this is to advertise the amended parking regulations for certain streets and areas in town. Kyle, Chief?
Sure. So just as the mayor talked about, these are really a culmination of several different topics that have been vetted through public safety, brought to council for discussion. This is the advertisement of the requested changes to the ordinance that are required. And I can kind of breeze through a couple of them here. In section 1, 11-37.1, the establishment of free parking zones. This is to add number 3, which is the 2 designated spaces immediately in front of 329 East State Street with parking restriction from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. In section number 2, under ordinance number 11-8.1, this is for Linden Circle from West Linden Street on the east side of Linden Circle to the connecting point of West Linden Street on the west side of Linden Circle. The portion of Linden Circle from the east side intersecting West Linden Street to the connecting point of West Linden Street on the west side of the circle shall be a one-way thoroughfare. All vehicles shall turn right from the intersecting roadways and only travel counterclockwise around the circle. It shall be unlawful for any driver to drive a vehicle in any other direction. Section number 3 pertains to section -11.33, enumeration of streets where parking is prohibited at all times. This is to add bullet point number 86 for Linden Circle, all inner portions of the street circle area. And point number 87, South Broad Street, the east side from the Borough Police Department / entrance driveway of the southernmost curb point to a point of 86 feet south. Section 4 is an update to our ordinance for 17-4, which is the removal of snow, hail, and ice from sidewalks. And this is essentially just a little bit more clarifying language as to the requirements of the owner. This was in discussion with our district justice of what he felt would be able to abide the ordinance and hold people responsible to it. Those are the 4 points that were brought forward.
Thanks, Chief. Council, discussion?
I was talking to Mike Bertrando this afternoon in advance of this meeting. He's the grandson of Sam, of Sam's Sub Shop, and they are very grateful for this.
Which is the 329 East State Street property.
The section 2, the Linden Circle's been, the residents there have all been notified via some of their other residents, and that's coming in front of Borough Council, Public Safety several times. I hope I remember.
Chief, snow removal 6 hours, is that a change? That seems,
No, that's not a change. 6 hours after the daylight from the storm that actually left us.
from the prior. So if it stops snowing at midnight, when do you have to shovel by?
By 2 p.m. that fall.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
That's not a change at all.
Any other council discussion? Any comment? Is there a motion? Please grab the microphone.
First off, it was done so fast, I couldn't understand all of it, so we need to back it up. What are you talking about for State Street? And as you said, it was Sammy's.
We're turning the signs for the 15-minute.
That was an injustice. I know they've been really under stress there. The West Linden Street, I understand what you're saying one way. What was that second thing you were saying?
Restriction of parking on the inner side.
In the inside?
Yes.
Okay, they can park on their outer because
Yes.
those people are tight up in there.
They don't have
They
driveways.
need something. Police station, I don't know what you're saying. 86 feet's a big number of feet. So what are we talking about? What side, which way,
It's-
direction?
So it's right here in front of the Borough building where the new entrance for the Borough and the police station is, restricting parking on that
It's on,
section.
is that over there?
It's on, yeah, it's on one it's right out front here on Broad Street,
It opens onto Broad.
just as you pass the train tracks, right where the entrance is to the new part of the police station,
Mhm.
in Borough Drive, a point of 68 feet from that entrance piece down.
Up to the, you mean in between the railroad tracks and there?
Yes.
Okay.
So, no, I'm sorry, going from that entrance over towards where Birch Street intersects, but on the Borough side of the street. So essentially, when you come out of the parking lot and you come to Broad Street, so you have sight distance to be able to see any vehicles coming.
On left and right?
Yes.
Well, what about?
Left is already restricted because of the train tracks. This
Uh,
is just
I
right.
didn't know how close you were to those. Okay, I see it, but where do people's companies supposed to park?
Pardon me?
From across the street, their companies always park there. It's been pretty vacant until there's a holiday or something to that, but that's where their parking comes for their company. That's one thing that's not being considered here. We not only have our families, we have company. So the density affects that, and you're saying like 86 feet would affect this.
68 feet.
Oh, 68 now. Okay.
No,
So-
it's always been 68.
Okay, I thought you said 86. So 68 is still a pretty good amount for those folks because the people park across. You know, they might park in the back if they can, but they park in front of their houses and they park on the side. And everybody has 3 to 4 cars in Kennett Square.
The only good thing I can say to that, Ms. Watson, is there's no housing on that side of the street.
I know,
Restrict.
that's why we need it. Wasn't no housing on my side either, but when you took it, we needed it. Okay. Snow and ice. I always thought that was a little ridiculous. I think it used to be a 12 or 24-hour period after the storm. Because if it's in the middle of the night, you're not going to get up. Of course, you don't have the storms we had to contend with in those years. But I think 6 hours is a bit ridiculous because it's still snowing. And most people, go ahead.
Just to add to that, it would have to be the storm would have had to have stopped, and
Mm.
then 6 hours after daylight, after the storm has stopped. So
I-
if the storm continues until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it wouldn't be until 6 hours after daylight of the next day.
Okay. All right. And then if it snows again.
That's a separate storm.
Yeah, I hear you. 6 hours, it seems a bit much, especially for older.
Unless there's any other comment, is there a motion to advertise this revised ordinance?
I was gonna say, yes, just
I'm
to be clear, this is
I'm
just
sorry.
for advertising. You've still got a month or two to digest what's in this before anything actually gets enacted.
I just have a couple questions. If you have a job that's 9 to 5, you can't shovel your sidewalk. I mean, that doesn't affect us because I'm old. But there are people, like when I had a real job out of town, I wouldn't be able to have my sidewalk shoveled. So I don't think 6 hours is enough. The other thing is when you were talking about sight distance, I think one of the worst intersections is on Birch and Broad. I have,
Don't disagree. Pardon me, Sandy. Don't disagree, but that's a different topic than tonight.
oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a
okay,
public safety issue. These are the ones that we're dealing with right now.
okay,
I don't disagree with you. There's a bunch of
Okay.
spots.
okay. So anyway, I did want to get my snow thing in. Thank you.
Just to clarify, the time has not been changed ever. That's been on the ordinance for long as I can remember.
Is there a motion to approve the advertising of this revised ordinance?
I'll prove it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion from council? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, Chief, and Public Safety Committee. Support letters for the Kennett Trail Alliance. Kyle?
Sure. And we have someone from the Kennett Trails Alliance here to give extra details, but basically looking to do a watershed management plan, looking to get a grant to fund that effort. This impacts us. We have some flooding along that stream. If untreated, it's likely to continue to be a problem. If not, a growing problem. So this is an opportunity for us to get behind an effort to help to address it. Christina, do you have more?
Sure. So I'm Christina Norland from the Kennett Trails Alliance. As you guys know, we've been working together with the borough as well as a number of other organizations to restore the area of green space that is between Anson B. Nixon Park and then all the way down to the YMCA pool. As you know, there's a significant stormwater management issue in that area, as well as the east branch of the Red Clay Creek, which can use a restoration effort similar to that was done in Anson B. Nixon Park previously. And also the Kennett Greenway runs through there, so we want to make sure that that space is accessible and ecologically restored for all of Kennett to enjoy. So as you know, we did the demonstration project previously at Cypress Beach, which has gone really well. And we're really excited with how the borough has been using that, the borough residents. This next effort would involve a number of different things. What we're asking for today is just letters of support. We're not asking for the borough to apply on our behalf or anything like that. There are 2 grants that we're looking to apply for. One is through the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation's Delaware Watershed Conservation Fund, and the other is through the Department of Environmental Protection from Pennsylvania, the Growing Greener program. And so those would each be about $300,000 and would match each other, and there would be no financial commitment on behalf of the borough. And then I can go into a little more detail what that grant would provide for, but I'll stop there in case anyone has any initial questions.
Thank you, Christina. Council comment, questions?
Supporting anything that has to do with cleaning up, providing better green space. benefit.
Why do you spend your time, effort, and money doing this?
Well, we believe in Kennett Square, and we want all of the residents of Kennett Square to be able to enjoy the space that we have. And obviously, you know, like this is an area that has not had a lot of investment over a long period of time. And we're hoping to help bring everyone together so that as partners, whether it's us and you, the fire company, Oxhaven, which is the apartments that are right on the north side of that, the YMCA, you know, our local partners like Brandywine Red Clay Alliance and Stroud, that we can all get together and try to make the community better. So.
Remarkable.
So it's actually both. So this is why this project has been pretty challenging in a lot of ways, because you have a stormwater management situation, right, where most of the water runs into that kind of depression and valley, which is right where the Red Clay Creek is, and the creek is highly incised. And so, you know, there's been significant flooding impacts to the south, right? So this particular grant, and it's a large area, so we're talking like 30 acres. So this particular grant is for 100% detailed design, engineering, drawings that would look at that entire 30 acres, and we would have a stream restoration, floodplain, and wetland restoration plan that would be coming out of that. And then it would also include any grading, plantings, any amenity design that would be within the restoration area would be part of that. Because obviously, if you're going to do all this restoration, you want to make sure that like it's compatible with having people travel through there on a trail, et cetera. And so that would be this scope for this project. And then from there, once that's done, hopefully that's aliens coming down to help. After that's done, we would then want to look at, together with our partners, the construction in phases and in stages. And the goal of doing the whole plan first is to ensure that you're not doing inefficient work in each of these little small pieces, right? When you think of a restoration project like this, you want to do it like comprehensively and thoughtfully and have the best ecological uplift. And so this would allow us to do that and then work together to, over time, work through the different projects. It would go, yeah. So in south of Pennock Park, also on Borough property, Brandywine Red Clay Alliance is doing a stream restoration there. This is sort of separate from that project. This is on the East Branch side. Yeah, but it would go from Anson B. Nixon down to the YMCA pool.
Borough pool, by the way.
Yes. I was wondering how should I phrase that, but I'm glad we're aligned.
Operated that way.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the pool has actually been inundated with water, right? A couple of times we saw.
Yeah, and I can't promise that all this work will like fully alleviate that because obviously like the environmental like conditions are always changing. But like, you know, obviously it's not going to get better in the current state.
Any other comment? Any comment from, please, Holly? Do you mind coming up to the mic?
Part of like Anson B. Nixon Park, any of that, or is it, and the pond that's in Anson B. Nixon Park, does that have anything to do with, like, who manages that? The reservoir?
I assume Anson.
Yeah,
Nixon-
so
or
Kappa manages the park.
Yeah.
And then,
Who does?
which is his day job.
Great,
Yep.
thanks.
Yeah, does any of this grant include the brownfield that is next to Magnolia Place? Well, that part of the creek will affect where you're going.
So are you talking about the NVF property or are you talking about the? Yeah, so that is, it's the other side because we're talking specifically about the portion, like, so there's the east and the west branch. The west branch of the creek is running through Parish, and then runs down like very close to, like Victory, et cetera, on that side of town. We're talking about the east branch, which is on the side of town closest to like the YMCA, South Walnut Street, et cetera. It's the east branch of the red clay. And then it will travel down and go, the stream itself goes down through Legacy Fields, down Creek Road, et cetera. So that is the branch that we're talking about. Yep.
Unless there's another comment, is there a motion to approve the support letters for the Red Clay Park Watershed Management Plan and the Growing Greener Plus program application? Okay.
I'm familiar with the area. I did Boy Scout cleanups as projects back there, and it's not a fun space. With the grants, is that anticipated to create a sustaining cost for the borough in your mind? Or do you consider it's a one-time and then once that gets done, it's kind of sustaining itself?
So this is a great question. So the grant itself is for the engineering. So part of the goal is that the borough will be partners with us as we go through the process of doing the engineering. So they'd be working with the consultants. And through that process, we want to design infrastructure that is as low maintenance as possible. However, as we know, just from the shade tree conversation earlier, like trees, stormwater, do require maintenance. So as we go forward and we think about how this is implemented, costs regarding maintenance have to be taken into account in design and in how we fund it going forward. So, you know, that is something that we can always continue to talk about as we go towards implementation, but none of these things are, I would be, yeah, I mean, everything does have to be maintained or it will cease to function effectively.
Just one other question. Does this involve any kind of easements to property owners besides Borough? Besides the YMCA, Brandywine, besides Anson B. Nixon?
So all of the individual, or there's actually no individual landowners, but all of the businesses or other organizations that have land in that area, in addition to the borough, have all like consented and agreed to work on this project together and are part of the committee that has been working on it.
Good questions, Troy. Thank you. Is there a motion to support these two application letters?
I'll approve.
For a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is consider the zoning hearing board applications, two applications, 432 South Walnut Street and 201 Birch Street. We'll take them one at a time. Again, council and audience, the zoning hearing board is assigned by the council, but is an entirely independent body that votes in their own manner, the way they see fit. All the borough or any party can do is to make a recommendation. It's up to them to decide. The borough has three options. The council has three options: to support the application, to support denying the application, or to have no comment. Mr. Crotty, is that fair?
Correct, yes.
So the first one we'll take up is 432 South Walnut Street. Is that a Lexi? Yep.
First say that the meeting is May 29th at 7 PM here on this.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Lexi, Kyle?
You introduce it. Thank you.
Yeah, so 432 South Walnut is a use variance. It's currently a retail space. They're looking to make it into a specialty automotive repair, I believe historic cars he's looking to fix up there. It was previously an auto repair store several years ago and was changed over to retail. So he is requesting a use variance to bring that back to the automotive use.
Thank you. Is either Mr. Grigalonis or Mr. Kranz here this evening? No. Council comment? My only suggestion, I mean, I think the use of it is fine, kind of going back to what it was. It's a shame. I thought that what was there was a cute little quaint little shop there, but obviously they weren't doing that well, or for whatever reason closed up. My only comment would be to support it, but to make sure that there are some restrictions on cars that are left out in the yard. What I wouldn't want to see is a bunch of old, dilapidated, beat-up cars sitting out in the yard for months on end, because it's a very mixed-use area. It's both residential as well as commercial. So that would be my only quest if the council supports it. I saw that. I just would like to make sure we quantify and qualify what that means.
Down from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. The only concern I have is just noise. Like, would they be very noisy being that they're old cars?
I apologize. It was not old cars, it's German cars.
German. cars.
Yep.
Okay. So other council thought?
I don't see any reason to either support or disapprove of it. I'm more interested in just letting the zoning hearing board do its thing.
Sorry, Julie?
I don't really. If they want to do it, they can do it. I mean, I would just be cautious about, hours. But I live near a metal shop across the street, and I think there's another guy that does things, and they're making noise all day. So.
Yeah.
What is it?
I would say neutral and let zoning hearing board do their job.
Timothy? Sam? Fair enough. Next one, Lexi, is, forgive me, 201 Birch Street.
Yes, this is, excuse me, this is the Old Hanks building. They are looking to add on a porch and a covered deck, and along with steps and an ADA accessible ramp to the front of the building, which would bring it with within the allowed setback range. So they're looking for a variance for increased setbacks.
Is there anyone from the applicant who would like to say anything?
Sure. We're looking to sort of bring this back as a rest.
Luke, do you mind just
Sure.
letting everyone know who you are?
Luke Zubrod from Square Roots Collective, who's working on the project. Looking to bring this back as a restaurant, soon to be named. It is not an attractive building. If you pull up Google, we're sort of figuring out how to take the ugly off of the front of the building. A deck and balcony will help achieve that end. Currently, there is outdoor dining on the sort of paved pad in front of it. So this would replace where that occurs. And we'd be removing some of that paving and putting in some plantings in front. So this is primarily the deck and the balcony that would go above it. There's also, as Lexi said, a side stair that goes out as far as the existing side stair. And then we're moving the ADA ramp from the front of the building to the side entrance of the building. This is oddly a property that's in the R3 district. So I think I mentioned recently that there are, I believe, 4 zoning districts within the block of Birch Street. Arguably, this should be a commercial zone, but it's a residential zone. Consequently, it has residential setbacks, and which are larger than commercial setbacks. This would go into that setback.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions.
Council?
I once again just leave this zoning hearing board to.
Yeah, I think that it's a really good exercise that we have these on the agenda for the simple reason that it brings what the zoning hearing board does and what their upcoming meetings are to the attention of the public if they want to go attend as well. But again, I would rather stay neutral.
Council comment? I'd certainly support it, but I'm in the minority, so I'll leave it at that. Do your plans include having any sidewalks around the 2 street-facing fronts of that property? That's the issue right now, right? Because there's no sidewalk, and I don't think it's required to be a sidewalk.
Yeah, so that's part of the Birch Street streetscape that
Okay.
the borough is putting in. There'll be a trail all along Birch Street, including in front of this building.
How about on the Broad Street side?
The Broad Street side does have sidewalks currently.
Oh, does it currently have sidewalk there?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Next item is approval of bills. Joel?
Yes, sir. As mentioned in the Finance Committee report, we reviewed these bills and recommended them for payment in the amount of $474,673.90.
Council discussion? Is there a motion to approve the bills?
I'll approve the bills.
For a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. And the April 7th minutes. Council, any comments, edits, discussion? Rachel, I have 2 comments, one on page 3, and I can give you a copy of these. It's under the Infrastructure Committee. And we ended that discussion with Norris, asked the council if there were any concerns or objections to the Infrastructure Committee recommendations and to carry out its recommended actions. The council agreed with the recommendations. And then on page 8, right before final comments, I had started a discussion, and I would put, Norris suggested it was time to investigate stopping or significantly reducing tractor-trailer traffic on State Street. He asked the manager to develop an approach and timeline to determine the feasibility to make this happen. Yeah, I'll give her my notes, but those were part of the discussions. With that, is there a motion to approve the edited minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And public comment, please, if you have any comments, come up to the microphone and make them now.
Hi, Jen Samuel, Daily Local News. Just one comment. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the old pen oak tree that fell. It was the oldest, yes, off 926. It was the oldest white oak in Pennsylvania. And then in Oxford, a little south, they had a beautiful tree years ago, and it did fall and partially was taken down. Any thoughts of planting a very large sort of like flagship tree in town at the NVF site as part of like your agreement? That's just one thought. And then I've heard that the Genesis buildings were sold. Can you let us know if that's accurate or any updates on that?
I think for the shade tree, it's a great question for our shade tree commission to take up to see if there's a spot that where it might apply, if that's an appropriate activity for them. Rachel, maybe if you or Carol, whoever can bring it to them, or you guys. Genesis buildings, to our knowledge, have not been sold. There's been activity, but they've not been sold at this point. Is there any other public comment? Thanks, John.
Yes, for one, if the Genesis buildings get sold, I would hope that you put a parking requirement on them to park in the parking garage. They were built for them. If both those buildings are sold, you're looking at what, 300 spots you need filled every day? We got a parking that's not even paying for itself. And every time I turn around, you guys want to give away our parking. And it's not fair. And I mean, we're only a $6 million a year. We're not even considered a small business. Yet we have 8 to 10 people in this borough making over 100 grand a year, and they only work 2 days a week in the office. I don't understand that. If I'm paying somebody, I want them here. If I call down here, I want to talk to somebody. I don't want them to call me back later from home. I worked at home for a while, and I'll tell you, it's hard. It's too easy to get distracted. You're paying somebody 100 grand a year. I expect them to be here every single day, 8 to 4:30. And you're telling me these guys are working 2 days a week, the rest of the time at home? I don't want to hear it. And the other thing I got a problem with is Kennett Cooperative. Collaborative, whatever else. They seem to be a covert government that in our borough, they're not even made up of all borough residents. We're having people from outside the borough making decisions for this borough. And the Kennett Collaborative is making decisions for this borough, and they're doing it above you, and then you're getting recommendations from Bob or somebody to go ahead and do something. And this has got to stop. I've been here a lot of years, and I'll tell you right now, I don't like the idea of people from Kennett Township, East Marlboro, all these rich people coming in and telling me what to do with my town. Now, the other thing is, and I will tell you, is, all right, we're giving Bontrager another $1 million grant, all right? How come we don't get a grant for this building? You know how much money we'd be making if we just made it solar? Because we're not even using most of the building. It would just bring in money right and left every month. How come Bontrager or somebody's not giving us money like they do in other towns? These rich people that live around here, why don't they give us some money to put solar on all our buildings here and make some money every month? Because I'll tell you, if the bigger part of this building is not being used, it just generates income. You don't have to worry about it as much. It just generates income. You just you pay for what's here, and the police station, everything else is free, making you money every 24 hours a day. So, you know, I mean, we got to stop this stuff. We're not big enough to have 10 people making $100,000 a year. We're not big enough. Ever.
Any other comment? Hold on 1 second.
Thank you, Holly Peters. I'm going to go to trees since they were the topic today. We used to guard our trees here, and particularly the big ones. There's one on Walnut Street in somebody's backyard there up on Hazel Avenue. Person lives on Hazel, but there's a great, we used to call them the giant trees. It's still in existence. It's there. When you did the flats, you tore down one of the biggest trees. Been in that field, I used to look at it ever since I was that high because our house was right there. Nothing but that tree. And then they had to put the flats up. That wasn't important. Trees are only important when people want them to be important. That's what I found out. Our shade tree used to give out free trees. I don't know if they still do. I got 2 that was promised not to get higher than 20 feet. Well, I hate to tell you. They're way up there, both of them. And I got them from the shade tree. I don't know where the shade tree is because we don't even talk about our standing committees or our standing committees up here anymore. So we don't know where you all's at. We're sorry you didn't get any money because we're paying enough taxes. Okay? You should be getting some. Everybody should be getting some. When I was driving around town as usual, I don't know what them people doing eating on the sidewalk down there at the old poolside deli, because the sidewalk's not even big for a dog, a baby carriage. And they were right in front of the store. And inside of there used to be seating. They need to not have any parking outside of there. And it's dangerous because it's a dangerous corner visually for vehicular traffic. So somebody needs to check that out. I don't know what's going on, but everybody's doing what they want in Kennet. And you have allowed it. Everybody's doing what they want. And that house that was built, we have another castle right next to the Mokokana. I'm going to say, I think I said it right or wrong, restaurant. What looked like a garage in a house now looks like something getting ready for battle. And I know our zoning committee did not approve that. Well, if they did, then you're twisting their arms, because that should never be allowed in Kennett Square, because it defeats R1, 2, 3, and it defeats all the purpose of our town as far as having pervious versus impervious, if you ever know anything about that. And you think it's smart? You think it's smart, Bob Norris, all the stuff you're doing? Because you built your house out like that, and I stood in the meeting and told you, you violated every code you could, and they let you. We need to start following our rules, because you're not doing it. That's ridiculous that you would let people build to that sort of extent and take off their neighbor's shade and everything else, beauty of the environment. Our goal in this borough was to honor nature. So when you shift around and you don't know if you want a tree on NBF, that sounds crazy to me. But what I know about it, it ain't going to grow there. Nothing's grown on there for years. Just started growing in the last 2 or 3 years, the little brush. So you better wake up and smell the coffee and stop letting these men bully us. You people were supposed to take care of us. It's been a bad face on government the last 4 years. It's not 2 terms for you, Bob, it's 1. We're just about mesmerized here in Kennett Square, and you haven't done anything for the citizen. But every time you turn around, like when the police station had to get a loan because you couldn't get another bondage, you threw in Birch Street.
It would be terrific if you came with facts once in a while, but that's another story. Are there any other comments? You had your 4 minutes. Ms. Peters? Your disparaging of people is so inaccurate and incorrect. You're defaming people that is so inaccurate. Ms. Peters, your turn. Ms. Peters, your turn. Ms. Peters, your turn. Please.
Holly Peters, 109 South Broad Street. I want to bring this up now because I know that it's coming up in the June meeting about the revitalization project. I just wanted to say that I feel like the borough, by way of excluding the merchants directly from having a decision-making stake at the onset of the proposal, is missing a vital opportunity to receive our input. None of us were polled, surveyed, or consulted. None were invited to actively participate in the decision-making process. And I would like to request the opportunity to do so. The stakeholders, as I understand, are the Borough, Kennet Collaborative, Kennet Library, Square Roots Collective, Longwood Gardens, Chester County Planning Commission. Again, people that are out and entities that are outside of the town. The merchants will be affected, good or bad, by the decisions made of these proposals. We are requesting that our contributions to the town's success our talent and the value we add should be recognized as such by the borough. To not consider us stakeholders is a slight. We propose that the merchants are giving a seat on the steering committee that is independent, with all due respect to the above mentioned entities. Prior to decisions being made, all merchants should have the opportunity to weigh in on these issues by way of presentation of concepts, plans, surveys, polling, and so forth, not after they're baked or being baked. A group of us were concerted about it, and we did meet to discuss it, and we have options that we want to have the opportunity to discuss. But I will tell you that every time I talk to fellow merchants in town, the same things come up. They feel like their voices are not heard. They are immensely concerned about the traffic safety in town. Recently, a friend of mine was hit by a car up on a truck, actually, last week on State Street. The deteriorating street trees and the lack of maintenance thereof, again, with all due respect to everybody that's responsible for these things, it's just whatever's falling through the cracks, it's not happening. And the dangers associated with those liabilities, trees falling down, people falling, tripping on sidewalks, etc. And again, I just want to close by saying that the merchants' desire to be heard is strong, and we don't feel like we're being represented by any of these entities. There are many of us that have never had anyone from Kennett Collaborative or the borough or any of these entities even walk in our establishments to see what it's like, in our lives. So I thank you for hearing me, and I will look forward to hearing your follow-up on this.
Thank you.
I guess I'll just clarify a couple things. No one on our staff works in the office 2 days a week. We have a couple people that work from home occasionally. At least looking at, just hold on. At least looking at the admin side, we have a total of 17 employees, 1 part-time, and I count 4 that make 100,000 a year. I don't know if you're counting police in there or where the number 8 or 10 is coming from, but I'm just clarifying that. And as far as we'll bring up the State Street projects at the June council meeting. The only group that has been given a copy of the presentation so far is our local merchant group. So we did meet with them. Holly was at that meeting. Hold on.
Let Kyle finish, please, Holly. He let you speak. Holly, he let you speak. Kyle.
I just wanted to clarify that their input has been taken in. Holly and I have talked going back to last year. And obviously that input will be put into the final presentation coming in June.
Daniel, I think only one chat. Daniel, only once, only one time. Could I ask you to please give another person a chance to speak? Daniel, you can both have different opinions.
I'm not.
You guys, come on. Daniel, go ahead.
Hi, Daniel Embry here with Kennett Collaborative. I was not planning to say anything tonight because I didn't have anything on the agenda, but I would like to just clarify. I was very flattered by John's assessment of the influence that we wield. I would have a different assessment. Kennett Collaborative is not a government entity. The borough and the council does not do what I say. For example, I would have advocated differently on the tree vote that was just taken. So I wish I had the power that you describe. I do not. We are a nonprofit organization. We are funded largely by our own efforts through our own fundraisers and through donations and sponsorships from local businesses who value what we do in the community, which is things that make this a great place, a welcoming and beautiful place to live and work. maintaining traditions like the Memorial Day Parade that we'll be having later this month, our Kennett Square Farmers Market that happens weekly here on this site, and third Thursdays on State Street. These are not just parties, these are meaningful events that contribute to the vitality and the economic prosperity of our town. Residents love these events, they attend them. Businesses depend on them to stay in business. We do the holiday tree every year. We make this a place that fosters shopping and excitement. So anyway, that's what Kennett Collaborative is. I'd welcome for you, John, or anyone else to come and talk to me and meet me at my office, learn more about what we do and how we do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Troy?
I have a follow-up from last council meeting. I brought up about Kennett Square Apartments. Again, $268,950,000 their assessed value. Sale price $4.5 million. They have not had their tax assessment updated. Thank you, Kyle. You engaged them. They were at 49.1% out of 50. After he inquired, amazingly, in 3 days, they turned over 50%. I have not seen that change. I almost weekly at the assessment office. We're leaving money on the table. So Kyle, I know you're back from vacation. So can we close that loop? And I will tell you, I have gone through 1,527 properties in the borough manually. Pulling.
What? Sorry, what have you done?
I went through 1,527 taxable properties, one by one, and put them into a spreadsheet. We are leaving money on the table. We have exempt properties that do not qualify for exempt. We have R10 residential that are housing multiple LLCs in them. We have a good portion of the borough playing by the rules. We got another part, not so much. It's a matter of enforcement, observation, and so forth. So going through 1,527 properties, you can see there are some very key owners of 40 properties in the borough by one organization, okay? I would stress, I have taken the ethics training the Commonwealth requires, okay? There is a question at the knowledge test, the very last question states, if you sit on a nonprofit, you are not to be involved in the discussion, you exclude yourself from the vote, and you put it in the minutes why. I got everybody's ethics statement. Half of them I can't read. I put mine in, it's very legible. We need to engage and make sure we're aware when stuff comes forward, where the tentacles end. If you have any involvement, you should be out of the discussion at the preliminary state, not when it comes up for vote. And everybody that is on a committee should likewise have to do the ethics statement. Yeah. The state will pay free of charge to come on site and train everybody. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. But before you leave, I mean, if that accusation we have to follow up on, if there's properties that are inappropriately assessed.
Chester County.
Mike, hold on one second. Mike or Kyle, what's the best way? I mean, there's a lot of work done here. How do we follow up and verify or correct?
I will tell you.
Just 1 second.
Well, I've already engaged Chester County Assessment,
but
and they're coming on site.
Mike, Kyle, what is there an action there or not?
Get us that list. We would work likely in coordination with the school district.
I met with the school district last week.
Hold on. If you get us that list, we can touch base ourselves with the school district to assess whether there need to be challenged to any of those. There's a whole, yes, it does, Charlotte.
Yes.
School does.
Hold on, please. This is not a back and forth here.
So it would be the borough working together with the school district as well as the county to assess whether, ascertain whether to challenge any reassessment.
Troy, thank you for that.
And I have
report.
met with the school district, so I can sync up with you.
And the school district is 80% of the tax bill, so they certainly would be interested.
Yeah, I met with the CFO.
Is there any other public comment? Sandy, please.
I'll make this quick. First, I know we're not discussing this, but I meant the railroad. I had brain freeze and not the creek because of the safety for children. Okay. I do have a concern about cars parked on both sides of Washington Street near the new apartments. I've been by there several times. First of all, there's been a box truck parked there for probably years, but I know this year it's there at the end every single day. With all the traffic now with the apartments, I think it could be a little dangerous and they should be paying for parking there. I don't know who that is.
Not to interrupt. So signage just went up last week restricting parking on the apartment side in between State and Cypress. That's now going to be enforced.
But it's not enforced yet because I was on that street today.
No,
again.
I realize that.
Okay, but that truck, I mean, we could be making money since we need money off of those parking spaces. So why should they have free parking on that side? And then I just want to say, I'm not trying to cause any conflict, but I do agree with Holly's statements. And I think the residents that pay taxes should have quite a bit of say when it comes to decisions in this borough. And I thank you all.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Council, Mr. Mayor?
I think we take our residents' comments very seriously here. Yes, we do. And I also believe that as a former business owner in town, that the merchants in town are vital to our downtown being as successful as it is with the help of the events that are thrown by Kennett Collaborative. So their voices should count just as much.
Unless there's any other comments, there are no action items carried over to Wednesday, so there's no need for a meeting. I know we'd love to have more of this discussion, but the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.